Interesting fact. A lot of people don't know about it. But yeah, there's one of the biggest churches in the world in those capital cities, Ivory Coast. But interesting enough, Islam is a dominant religion. No, it's not Christianity, Islam, for about 60% of the population. This is interesting enough, Israel, kind of a contrast, but yeah, this is the truth. Islam accounts for 60% of the population, and then we got like 40% among Christian and some other local religion. Also, interesting fact, we got 63 different languages, but two official languages, which actually one official language is French, it is spoken at school, but actually people speak 63 different languages, local languages. So this is another interesting fact about Ivory Coast. And again, you speak French? No? Yes? Maybe. Abidjan, one of the capital city, is the third basically largest French-speaking cities in the world. So that's an interesting fact too. So out of more than 16 million people, the population, more than I would say 10 million speak French. And that makes it in this French area one of the third largest country. Also, it's a country of fashion, as you can see. I got pretty fashion. Yeah. So yeah, so we can feel if you go to Ivory Coast and West Africa, you can find a lot of fashionable stuff from Paris, big designer, Versace, everything in Ivory Coast. Interesting fact, it's a land of immigrants. Unlike the United States, which has like 30% of its population as considered as immigrant, whether legal or illegal, Ivory Coast has like 26%. Mostly for the West African countries, the surrounding countries. So that's another interesting fact about Ivory Coast. Is it really chocolate? Most of the chocolate you eat comes from Ivory Coast. And it comes from the cocoa bean. Some people don't know it, but yeah. And Ivory Coast is the one largest producer of cocoa bean in the world. And yeah, the estimation that more than 16 million tons of cocoa beans produced every year. And this is what they use mainly to produce chocolate. Interesting fact, the actual president is a Quaker. Do we have any Quaker here from University of Pennsylvania? Maybe yes? Yeah, go Quaker. So yeah, so that's another fact. And he used to be the former, one of the former chair of the International Monetary Fund, which is one of the biggest financial institutions in the United States. Another interesting fact, Independence Day is coming up for Ivory Coast. It's August 7th, and it's celebrating basically the independence of the country from France, which is a Creole country. Now, another less interesting fact, maybe. I'm Nandri Yannick Richard Couton, and as you can guess, I'm from Ivory Coast. And this picture is actually when I was staying back there 5 years ago. Any question? Merci beaucoup, and that's the French. Yes?
I have a question. So I actually am very fond of Drogba.
Okay.
Mainly because I'm a football fan.
Yeah, Drogba, right?
Yeah. So my question is like how big is he in your country? Like how the status or like the perception of Drogba, how big is he?
Honestly, not as big as is, outside the country. Drogba is like an icon worldwide right now. But in Ivory Coast, he's still a big guy in Ivory Coast, but I don't think he's as big, people view him as big as, other people in Ivory Coast. I mean, in England, for example, over the world view. But yeah, he's still an icon, he's still a big guy in Ivory Coast. And yeah, everyone loves Drogba. Yeah, Alejandro. It's really big. They try hard to maintain, but again, we got this, the issue with the ivory. Unfortunately, there's still ivory trade. It's not legal. It's still not legal, but some people do illegally, and the country is really trying to conserve, to maintain this animal conservation. It's not like it used to be in 1960, that's for sure. But yeah, we still have parks, in the national parks where the animal, the elephant, and all kind of animals trying to be preserved. But yeah, it's very consistent.
They do ecotourism in Côte d'Ivoire?
Yes, they do. So actually, if you go and they usually do ecotourism, just like South Africa, the safari and stuff. Yeah, you can do it. There's a lot of parks. We got like almost like something like 20-ish parks, national parks, where you actually do ecotourism and then go see all those elephant, lion, and all those interesting animals. Yeah. Okay.
How many those 63 languages do you speak?
That's a good question. I personally speak only 2. Because my parents are from 2 of those, local tribe languages, so I do speak 2. In addition to English, of course, which I learned in school, and also German, which I forget everything. I don't remember my German anymore. But I do have some German though. Yeah. So 2 out of 63. To answer your question. Yes. Yes.
What is the attraction? Is the control anywhere, the political economy, the life behavior?
One of the attractions is that the actual country from its history was built by people migrated or immigrated from the surrounding surrounding country, from the border country. So that's one of the issues. So a lot of people in those countries, when the country gets separated after we got this colony, from France, Portuguese, a lot of those persons, those border countries, they have family back, in Africa. That's what happened. So because of that, since now everything is legal, it used not to be, in the past, before the 60s and everything. Since everything is legal now, those persons, even though they have family or a relative in Ivory Coast, they're still considered like immigrants because they're not, officially from the country. But that's the main reason. A lot of the population is made of, border countries like Ghana, Liberia, some in Liberia in the west side, what other countries, Mali, Burkina Faso. So this is where basically the immigration rate is so high. Okay, for more questions? Yes.
Are there any common misconceptions when you go to the West that you hear about your country? Some ideas that you hear, some questions that you get that make you think that a lot of people are uninformed about kind of how the country is.
I basically covered most of those questions. Actually, I saw your picture. I don't know if you saw the slide of Abidjan. And one of my friends, she's going to community college in Texas. She did kind of the same presentation, and she showed a picture of Abidjan with all those buildings and things. Somebody was like, "No, this is not Abidjan. This is New York." But yeah, this is the misconception. Many people think it's the forest. There's nothing interesting, but yeah, that's not true. It's basically just like any other city here in the United States or around the world. I think we got a question back there.
Oh, yeah. Hi. I'm also from West Africa, and I grew up in Senegal.
Yeah.
Growing up in Senegal, Côte d'Ivoire was the place to go. Everybody wanted to go to Côte d'Ivoire.
Yeah.
I was interested in how did, I guess, the Côte d'Ivoire, how did the government export their culture or the population of the popularity of the country within Africa itself? And there's also been recently, I noticed there has been an increase. Less people are wanting to go to Côte d'Ivoire.
Of course, there's less money now than it used to be in the 90s. Because one of the, what we call the miracle, the Ivory Coast miracle was, like I said, the production of cocoa bean. So it was really exploding in the 90s. And this is why one of the benefits of this explosion was, that's why they used the benefit to build one of those biggest churches in the world. But yeah, that was right in the 90s. But not so much because of, we had this crisis. We even had a civil war, in the past year. So that was a lot of political issues and instability. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people, stopped migrating to Ivory Coast. Now, how the government, you say, export the culture? One of the main things is soccer. As you know, the country is a big, soccer country. We got a lot of players playing, overseas, Europe, England, and so. So one of the things is basically soccer. The other thing is culture. Like I said, Abidjan is one of the biggest, cultural and fashion in West Africa. So a lot of people come for fashion week, a fashion, event from Paris, from all over the world. So that's another way. Another way is also music. So we export a lot of the music, the popular music around, both in Africa and in Europe. So this is basically how the government has been able to expand the culture of Ivory Coast through soccer, music, and I think fashion. Thank you, guys.
We have 2 more. Allison or Evan, either one of you share jump up.
Good job, man. Good job.
Okay, why are you recording?
Yeah.